How's it going, everyone? It is Andre Williams, and over here we talk stocks and we focus on one thing. Always protect your profits. And today we're going to be talking about BBIG. I know it's been a little bit since I've given you guys an update, but one thing I was talking about in the previous videos, you want to see it hold down the $5 level. Not only was it able to do that today, ended up closing green. I think it was around $5.33. I won't take up any more of your time. Let's jump into the agenda. If you're new to this channel, I just want to let you know we have timestamps down below inside the description. But if you are a shareholder, you're thinking about taking a position, I highly suggest you watch this full entire video. So the first thing we're going to go over is the technical analysis. We're going to be taking a look at the overall price action. We want to know support, we want to know resistance, and what are some levels that we want to look for coming from BBIG. And this is in a bullish case scenario and as well as a bearish case scenario. And then we're going to go on Fintel, taking a look at the short interest information. Does it still continue to have short squeeze potential? And also taking a look at further breakdowns, because it does contribute to the overall volatility inside of the stock. And then we're going to take a look at the order flow distribution. Was retail buying up a lot of shares today? Was there large scale orders coming from institutions and so on? We're going to be finding out. And then when all of that is done, we'll be going into the final thoughts and as well as some more key details. So let's get to it. So we're going to do a technical analysis for BBIG. Let's see how it performed on the day. So it ended up closing at $5.33, being up 6.39%. On the low, it tested $4.89, and then on the high, testing $5.47. When we take a look at the volume stats on the day, you can see we traded at 22.137 million shares, and the average volume over 10 trading days being at 26.183 million shares. So we ended up having some below average volume on the day, but as you can see, we saw some strength in the stock. So what does this mean? There are many who are still holding their shares, and we did have some buying volume coming in. Now, when we take a look at our chart, you can see it's a 1-year daily. We're going to look at the RSI, and down below it is around 43.68. When we take a look at the moving averages for our chart, we are below the 21-day EMA. We're also below the 50-day, and we also have strength above the 100-day and as well as the 200-day. So one of the things that I talked about in my previous video for BBIG, how key it was for it to continue to hold up this $5 level. And I must say, it's doing a great job doing that. Yes, it did pull back to $4.89 on the day, but keep in mind, we pulled back even further than this. Back here, you could see on October the 6th, and we got down to levels where we got into the 470s. So knowing that, hey, we ended up pulling back today and we went to 489, that is an improvement. We're seeing higher levels of support. So holding down this $5 level is something I'm going to want to see from BBIG. As far as where we had resistance was right here around $5.47. So going into tomorrow, it would be great if we can test the 50-day here right at $5.60. It's only 13 cents away. So that's what I'm saying. If we have volume and we have buying pressure coming into the stock, this would easily be doable. So we're going to take a look at the short interest information for BBIG. When we see the dark pool short volume ratio, it is at 52.86%. And then for the dark pool short volume being just over 5.4 million shares. Scrolling down further on the page, the short shares availability is at 35,000, updated 26 minutes ago. And then for the short borrow fee rate, it is at 27.87%. When we take a look at the history of the short volume ratio, we can see for the close of October the 7th, which was last week Thursday, it was at 53.53, and then for the close of last week Friday, it was at 52.86. So BBIG continues to have short squeeze potential, but it'll be very interesting to see what the numbers will be later on in the evening. But I'm going to bet on, for the most part, it's going to continue to be high. So now let's go into the order flow distribution. Now let's take a look at the order flow distribution for BBIG. So we can see here on the inflow, it was 28.54, and then on the outflows, it was 26.84. So we ended up having an inflow day. We can see here from the breakdown, it was 0.71 on the large. On the medium, it was 20.44, and then on the small, it was 7.39. When we take a look at the outflow side on the large, it was 0.52. On the medium, it was 19.17, and then on the small, it was 7.15. So we ended up beating out the outflows in every single category, and you can see even on the small side, there was a lot of buying from retail, but keep in mind there was also a lot of profit taking that went with that. When we take a look at the large scale orders in the last 5 days, you can see for October the 11th, of course, which is today, being at 193.14. So taking this into consideration, yes, we did end up seeing appreciation in the stock, closing at $5.33, holding up that $5 level, but there also was a lot of profit taking. We have seen it pull back to lower levels, so many people have been selling. But what's very clear here, there is demand for BBIG shares, because if there wasn't any demand whatsoever, we wouldn't have seen strength in the stock, especially considering how choppy the markets were and knowing that the SPY pulled back quite a bit. And we already know BBIG is a growth stock that trades on that exchange. So it's one thing you want to understand and be aware of. So knowing that a lot of stocks that traded on NASDAQ ended up pulling back and BBIG was able to hold itself up, that's something you should pat yourself on the back if you are a shareholder, and let's see what it can do, especially as this week moves on. So now let's jump into the final thoughts and go over some more details as well. So for my final thoughts for BBIG, I will continue to keep this play on the radar. We talked about how key it was for it to hold up $5. It was able to do this. Yes, it did pull back behind it, but at the same time ended up reclaiming it and then making that move and then closing the day at 533. So if we end up having more volume coming into the play, then of course we can see this stock price continue to be on the move. If we end up having decreased volume and more selling pressure, then of course we can have a potential pullback. So these are one of the things that I want you to keep in mind if you are inside of this play, and is why I always emphasize to do your homework and do your due diligence. I don't cover everything on this channel about the particular stocks that I share. Instead, I want to make sure you guys know what's happening on the institutional side, what's happening on the retail side, so you have a good idea as far as the stock's performance is concerned, what to expect, or even come with a realistic estimation when it comes to your entries and as well as your exits. And that's also the reason why we take a look at support and resistance levels. One thing we know for a fact, this play does have short squeeze potential. That's part of the reasons why it's gained a lot of attention. So when is this short squeeze going to come? I know I get this question a lot. And again, this is something that we can't exactly predict. But one thing that we are aware of, if we have a lot of volume and there's a lot of buying pressure, then this stock can make a very strong move. If you're hearing about all of these crazy price targets out there, these are just ways to kind of get you hyped up, give you that hopium, I should say. And I want to make sure, yes, it is okay to be bullish on a particular stock, but you also want to be realistic, because if you're not realistic when it comes to your exits, this is how you become a bag holder. And I know many of you could feel me and understand when I do say that, because I see it in the comments like, you know what, Dre, thank you for keeping it real. Thank you for keeping it transparent, and also giving a balanced approach as far as for the bullish case scenario and as well as the bearish case scenario. So for BBIG, yes, we can get that potential big move, but we can't say exactly when it's going to happen. But if you're inside of this play, you want to make sure that you're using the right position size and you're not over leveraging yourself. So I hope you enjoyed this video, and we'll be talking real soon.